Hello my loves, welcome or welcome back. I hope you guys are doing well whenever this reading finds you. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I am recording outside, which I'm sure you guys can hear all the birds and other things going on in the background. But I'm not able to record in my car today, so I'm hoping that the wind doesn't get too strong. So we will see. But today we're going to be doing a pick a card, looking at where your intuition is leading you at this time, what you're being guided towards. So this is general, it is timeless. As always, take what resonates for you, leave the rest. You know your story best. You may resonate with all the reading, parts of the reading, or none of the reading, and that is completely normal and okay. Just take what fits into your story and leave what doesn't. And since it's timeless, whenever you guys are seeing this, that is when it should apply for you. But of course, we could pick up on past, present, future energy or messages. Everyone's timeline is different. So that is that. Before we get into the pile selection, everything is linked down below for you guys. If you want to book a private session with me, if you want to follow me elsewhere, other ways in which you can support me, my work, and the channel, all those things are linked down below. So grab your drinks, your snacks, pen, paper, notebook for those of you that want to take notes or channel alongside with me. We are going to get into your pile selection. Hey group 1, welcome to your reading. So we're taking a look at where your intuition has been leading you, guiding you at this time. So before we get into that part of your reading, I want to take a look at your current energy or recent energy. This will act as a confirmation for you to let you know if this reading is for you. This could also be letting you know the energy that you're going to be transitioning into in the near future after listening to this reading. If you find that you don't resonate with this portion, you could always pick another group. But let's take a look at your energy or recent energy that you've been in. So you guys got the golden egg reversed, and you also got the page of cups with temperance. So this, again, has either been in your recent past, the past 3 months max, I would feel like, or this is going to be your current state. There's been a great deal of anxiety tied to decision making and timing. It seems like perfectionism may be something that could have restricted your expression. And the expression is either going to be referring to your artistry, your creativity, or it may be tied to your identity or sense of self. And it definitely could be both. Both can go hand in hand or kind of coincide. So intentional practices such as grounding, meditation can help bring this into balance for you. But this is something that has been extra challenging. Most of you either ground or experience an opening when you channel your stress and your worries into a creative outlet. So whether or not you would consider yourself to be an artist, that is what you are. You are an artist, and your hypercriticism, your fear of failure interferes with your ability to create at times, and just create for the sake of creating versus feeling as though you have to be producing for other people, for other things, or to see a specific result, tangible results. This could be money, this could be recognition, this could be some sort of shift or change in position. But you struggle in allowing yourself to just experiment and do things, again, for the sake of doing it because it fulfills you in that moment. And when you create for the sake of creating, that is when you are most in the flow, and that is what allows you to receive more. And this helps you break up stagnancy in certain areas of your life or even within. Another example of a creative outlet where this could apply would be like dancing, right? So dancing is something that may free you. You may feel that it liberates you, that you're able to ground yourself, be yourself, you're able to break up, again, that stagnancy that I was talking about, maybe within certain parts of your body. So you open yourself up to become a channel to receive what it is that you're desiring. So unintentionally, without even realizing, dancing or another form of physical activity could be a form of manifestation for you. But then there may be instances where you put a lot of pressure on yourself to do something a certain way, or it has to be perfect, it has to look like this, it has to be like that. Or maybe you feel like you can only dance when you are doing it for something else. Again, like I said, maybe you're a content creator and you like sharing your dancing. And you may feel that, okay, well, I can only dance if I'm posting it, if I'm sharing it, and then if I do that, it has to be perfect. It has to look and be a certain way. This way, it'll be liked by others, or it'll be valued by others, or I'll receive recognition or acknowledgement from others. Do you see what I mean? Birds are going crazy today, by the way, for your group. So you may be feeling an enormous amount of pressure to do the right thing or to be a certain way. And this pressure could be coming from specific people in your life, whether it's personal or professional. But there's this feeling as though you've never fit in fully. That is something that you've been insecure about, never quite fitting in. And I wouldn't be surprised if this insecurity derives from criticism and control from other people or certain environments and spaces that you have been in. Feelings of inadequacy are heavily tied to this fear of failure that you have, and you may have defined your worth by your productivity, or other people have do this and they've projected it onto you. This is crazy. Right as I paused it, this crow flew overhead, and then this notification popped up on my phone, and it said, "You've been waiting for a sign, here it is, move." So some of you may be called, where your intuition is leading you towards a move, or a move is going to be happening and taking place. This could be a move within like your living situation, your personal life, or this could be professional. You could be making a move from one company, corporation, job to another. You could be moving positions, but there's something about making a move in your life. Going back to where we were, you are not intended to be anything but yourself, okay? You are unique. You may have identified as the black sheep, or you may feel as though you were assigned that role within a specific unit, or even a scapegoat. And your values and your morals differ from those who choose to judge you and demean you. And it is actually an amazing thing that you are nothing like them. And at the beginning of your reading, I told you how there was this heavy anxiety. And I felt it strongly when I pulled your cards and I was channeling your messages and just sitting in that energy, trying to navigate what was coming through. It was difficult for me to put things into words and to really articulate what it was that I was sensing and perceiving. But after going through it and spending time breaking it down, that anxiety is gone. Now there's a feeling of peace. Everything that I just said and went through about your current or past position, except for the small number of you may be moving into this energy very soon, I think you already have become aware of all this. This is something that your intuition has been guiding you through and helping you piece together so you can understand what this is rooted in, where it's coming from, and how it's been affecting you and impacting you. So while for a majority, this is your current energy going back the past 3 months, it absolutely could extend beyond that too, because it feels as though you have been in a lengthier cycle where this theme or these challenges have been reoccurring, continuously popping up for you. And now it feels like everything finally makes sense. And that understanding is going to be solidified soon. So looking at where your intuition is leading you, right? You have the eternal child and the sustainer. So your intuition is leading you down a path or to a place that will sustain and fulfill your inner child and certain dreams, desires, and wishes that you've had since childhood. You may have been receiving certain signs in connection to this. It could be in dreams, it could be on social media, in your waking life. As you guys have seen or heard, rather, you have a ton of birds, so you may be visited by many birds, or a specific type of bird may be popping up and surfacing. But you have been the sustainer majority, if not all of your life. And the shift that is taking place involves you transitioning away from sustaining everyone and everything else so you can sustain and invest in you. And you may have been taught that everything you are, everything that you have, every aspect of you belongs to another person, someone or something else. And there is no such thing as autonomy or separation from a particular person, unit, or dynamic. This has been a major lesson for you that has manifested or unfolded in different ways throughout your life. And that is why I said, even though for most of you, your current energy, extending back up to 3 months, has been centered around this breakthrough, you have been in this for a very long time. And your awareness, your understanding of this now is how you are able to break free from it. So your intuition is leading you towards you, basically. That's the word that keeps coming through. It is all about you from here on out. Imagine being in a book or being in a movie, and your character you felt has always been on the sideline. You have always played a part in someone else's story. And now this is about you defining yourself and defining your own story. It's like when people talk about becoming the main character, this is that. Does this mean that you are disregarding other responsibilities that you have? No, it's not like that at all. It's not about being self-centered in a way that is harmful, detrimental to yourself or to others. It's about you experiencing a shift in priorities. The true version of you has been fighting for this freedom, which is why you're moving away and purging many things that have been a hindrance to you, that have restricted you and held you back. Like I said, you could be moving or switching environments, personally or professionally, and this may involve you detaching from specific spaces, connections, or shifting your path completely. Because at your core, you are a vibrant, colorful, magical, and imaginative soul in person, and this is your true identity. These are key parts of what makes you you and what makes you special. And this is where your intuition is leading you. It's leading you back to yourself and into a space that allows the true you to thrive. Before we break it down further and clarify this energy even more, I've noticed as I was channeling for your group, and even when I've been recording the other channeled sessions I've been doing, this has been a reoccurring theme. So some of you guys, you may have watched those readings, or you may really resonate with those readings and be drawn to them. You could receive more information or more insight there. But I always notice that these airplanes always fly overhead as I'm recording, and they get lower and lower and lower each and every day. And with this airplane that had flown overhead just now when I paused it, there came this huge gust of wind, and immediately I thought of winds of change, which to me is just a confirmation of what you've been feeling, but also letting you know that you're getting closer and closer to this move and transition that is taking place in your life. You already are in the midst of the transition itself, but the physical move, I feel, is going to happen very, very soon. I keep wanting to record. I don't know if you guys can hear, but the wind has picked up and keeps picking up and is getting stronger. I didn't get this initially when I was channeling for you, or at least it wasn't the main focal point, but I just got another notification on my phone from a random app, and it said, "Are you single?" on it. So this change could also be happening in your love life as well. That is something that is applicable for you. There may be someone new that you're meeting soon, someone that is going to wonder if you are single. Definitely someone that would be interested in you romantically. So if there has been a lack of movement or action, quote unquote, in your love life, then that is a big shift that likely is going to be taking place, and it probably will come with this other larger transition that you are in. I love how I said that and now the wind just stopped. Okay, going over your cards. The Storm reversed, the Nectar, and the Shadow reversed. So to me, this is a really beautiful omen, because when the Storm is reversed, you're moving away from a situation that was unstable, chaotic, destructive, in a damaging way. You've already overcome the most challenging part of this. So now you are moving into an era of sweetness, as the wind picks up again. The Nectar represents nourishment, which is something you're going to be receiving and experiencing on multiple levels. And you are on this journey of discovering what really feeds your spirit. And I think that this is going to be involving several areas of your life, which makes sense why that love message came through. You no longer are going to be in an atmosphere that is suffocating, depleting, and barren. This transformation of your life is bringing depth, it's bringing color, it's bringing passion and genuine joy. The Shadow archetype being in this position, I see that, one, you've already faced the parts of your shadow that were triggered by those fears and insecurities, and I think you're still doing so. And two, you're coming out of this darkness and you are returning to the light. And the example I wanted to use is Persephone. Some of you may know the story of Persephone, some of you may not. But when Persephone descended into the underworld, it brought cold weather, harsher conditions, and a loss or a lack of life on earth. And for you, you may feel as though you've experienced a coldness or a purge or a loss within your own life. Certain things in your life may be falling away. You may be letting go or releasing certain connections or certain aspects of yourself, even shedding your own skin. And when she reascends, the light, the warmth, the abundance returns. And that is what you are now experiencing. I don't think the shadow work ever truly ends. I think the way in which we work through these things evolves over time. And of course, what we specifically are focusing on evolves and shifts over time. But you have been on a specific journey, once again, where you are more to yourself, or focusing on turning inward and making that your priority, making that your focus, and looking at addressing many things that have been festering for some time. This phase at the end of this cycle has been your descension. Now it's time for your reascension, and that is why you are going to experience this influx of abundance that comes into your life, because you are now open to it, and your maturity and growth aligns with it. And you understand and realize now, or you will be understanding soon, that the abundance was never something that you had to search for outside of yourself for fulfillment. It entirely comes from within. Just because things outwardly now are going to be coming into fruition physically, that is because of everything that you have worked through internally. The shift of your mindset, the evolution of your self-concept, these are the things that make you this open channel for what you truly deserve and desire. Another important thing is that Persephone descended as a maiden, which I connect to a part of your inner child and your past self, and she is reborn as a goddess or a queen. Do not downplay your growth and your progress, because you have evolved in the most powerful of ways without even fully realizing it, without being able to fully conceptualize it. Don't look outside of yourself for that confirmation, look within. Even though I do feel you're getting external confirmations, you may not fully understand what it's connected to or what it means. Some of you guys, you could be seeing your birthday. Some of you guys, you keep seeing repeated numbers or again, repeated symbols. And this is to not just affirm, again, the shift that is happening, taking place, where you are being led to, where you are going, but to affirm and acknowledge your growth. Yes, we can always grow. Yes, we can always evolve, but you shouldn't feel as though you have to chase being the best or being better or being the greatest. It's not about that. I think that is one of those lingering things, or one of the final things that you may have to check, or that you may be realizing, is that your desire to constantly improve and be better, having to always grow or learn something, go through something, likely stems from a place where no matter what you did, how much you did, how hard you tried, it was never good enough. I think that may be that final seed conditioning that you may have to remind yourself of and address moving forward. And it's a part of your shadow, right? So it likely will always be there. It's just how you navigate that and how you handle that. That is a reflection of your growth. Your external world hasn't matched your internal world, but this isn't going to be the case much longer. So your final messages and advice, you have the oyster reversed and the hummingbird that came out crossed. So another confirmation is that there's a reference about nectar in the hummingbird card, the description of the card, and it talks about experiencing sweetness or nourishment. So I feel like you may find yourself clamming up and you're being guided to share. You're gifted, and that is not something that can be questioned or challenged. There are moments where we can become shy or doubtful about our own talents, our own abilities, our strengths, and this is something that you likely are still working on or may resurface in the future. And I resonate with that a lot, because while I know, like with tarot, right, with channeling and offering messages and guidance and things like that, I'm great at it. I know that my readings and the way in which I deliver messages is special and unique to me. But that is also one of the things that I am most sensitive about, that I can become most self-conscious about. But in those moments when that happens, I work through it, and I try my best not to be hard on myself, to be understanding and be compassionate, because I never received that, and that is exactly what I need. So you have to give yourself what you need. When you are struggling, when you are going through a hard time, you have to nurture yourself. If you avoid it, it'll come back. If you face it and you work through it, you can get on the other side of it. And there's nothing wrong with having to work through it more than once. You most likely will have to address this more than once, but your choice to address it is really important. So, like I mentioned before, the strong presence of anxiety and perfectionism came through, but after taking time to process those thoughts and messages that came forward, now there's relief. So you are a guide, and you're also a guardian. When discouragement or judgment comes through, you have to give yourself a safe space to navigate those feelings. And it doesn't matter if it starts from within or if it's from an outside external source. Either way, that affects you internally. And depending on how the wound originated, certain triggers may be much more intense than others. Like criticism or judgment coming from a specific person, treatment from a specific person, or going to a specific place or environment. Sometimes these feelings will pop up randomly, and even if you can't pinpoint it, just pause, take a step back, and listen to yourself. Harsh criticism is only going to deepen the wound and amplify even more. You may never have received compassion or understanding when you were young or throughout your life, but it is up to you to change that and be the person that you need in those moments. Like I said before, be the safety that you lack, be the love that you deserved, regardless of where you are on your journey with this, listen to your heart, trust your intuition, trust yourself. That is what I have for you, Group 1. That is where your intuition is leading you. I hope that it helped. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. I love you guys so, so much. I'm so proud of you. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next one. Mwah. Hey, Group 2. For those of you that selected the second pile, this is going to be a reading. We're looking at where your intuition is leading you at this time. So the wind is picking up. I'm going to try and pause it in between so it's not too loud, doesn't mess with the audio too much. Before we get into your cards, your guides may specifically be connecting with you or trying to get your attention through animals, and it feels like it could be a pet or pets that you have. Especially if you have a cat or cats, I feel like they may sense certain things that you are feeling and experiencing. Their behavior or demeanor could be changing slightly, and this could be a confirmation for you. I'm also getting butterflies and dragonflies as well. Both symbolize and represent change. For me, I usually connect the butterfly with internal change and personal development, while the dragonfly may indicate an external change. So both are coming through for you, and it would make sense both of them being connected or one causing the other. I just had a random flashback to a certain moment, which I feel like this will make more sense later on in your reading, but I'll talk about it now. So, years ago, when I was in that unhealthy situation that I've shared with you guys before briefly, it was a toxic and abusive connection that was on again, off again, and at this point, this was before the final reconciliation, I believe. This was one of those big turning points. One of the more difficult parts of this connection or situation that I was in before things got really, really bad. But I remember me and this person, we were walking, we were at either the beach or the park, and I was asking for a sign of whether or not me and this person were quote unquote meant to be, if we were going to reconcile. And that was something that I really held on to because I had certain wounds that manifested in a really intense way or were triggered in a really intense way in that relationship. So I was holding on to this person, this connection, the idea of what it could be, because I was using that to dictate and validate my own worth. And because it was so difficult and there was so much resistance, I felt that a reconciliation would represent that I am worthy, and it's like me proving to myself that I was chosen, right? Which was more important than being genuinely loved or experiencing genuine connection or fulfillment with another. Regardless of how this person treated me, the idea of being chosen by them because of how difficult it was, it felt like a game in a weird way. Like it was something that I could accomplish, something that I could win. And immediately after asking for a sign, I saw this butterfly with a broken wing that was on the ground. I remember seeing it and feeling so bad because it was suffering, and I didn't know if I should leave it there, if I should pick it up or move it. And I remember pointing it out to this person and also feeling defeated because I knew that that was the sign, and they kind of laughed at it or like made a joke about it. And looking back now, I can see how that quite literally was a reflection of the connection I have with this person, because I was continuously beaten down. And the push and pull that was so painful and devastating for me was something that was so enjoyable for this person, because they were in control and they were always being chased. So with this flashback coming through, as we go throughout your reading, like I said, it'll make more sense, but this may represent your connection or relationship with another person, or patterns within relationships in your life, or just how you have felt in certain situations. So the first set of cards that we're getting into is going to represent your current energy or the energy from your recent past for most of you. Like I told group 1, this could be the energy that you are moving into in the near future after listening to this reading. But for most of you, this is going to represent your current energy or the recent past. And this will act as a confirmation for you to let you know if it's your reading or not. If you feel you don't resonate with it, or it just doesn't click, then you definitely can pick another pile, or this reading today just may not be your reading, okay? So for your current energy or recent past, we have the Rabbit, the Page of Wands, and the Two of Swords. So there is an emphasis on either multitasking or taking on more than you did before. Currently, you're moving into a state or a space of abundance, and things may be picking up for you. You may notice that you have more energy, inspiration, or drive than you did previously. And there were many difficulties and challenges in the past when it came to sustainability, structure, or stability in your life. I'm so sorry for all the background noise. My neighbors are moving their cars around. So there could also be something about rearranging things, moving something. This may be tied to physical relocation for some, or restructuring and changing the ways in which you do things on a day-to-day basis. But while there may have been external blockages you feel that you've been met with, a lot of what restricted you was internal. And I feel as though externally, what you have been facing was almost a mirror or a reflection of what was going on inside of you. Now, when I say this isn't me suggesting that other people's actions and decisions and choices and what they do is because of you. Not at all. But I do feel as though there could be a deeper connection, or that you can interpret it in a way where certain people's patterns of behavior, their treatment towards you, or certain things that you do experience externally can also be connected to certain things that you feel and experience on the inside. And that parallel can be something that brings you clarity. The Rabbit can also talk about paralysis that you experience from fear and anxiety, especially regarding what could be versus what is. So it is completely understandable, Group 2, why you would struggle with this based off your past experiences, because they've made you wary and cautious. But you have also experienced this breakthrough that has made you more aware of this, and you are now more cognizant of the fact that you have a tendency to anticipate the worst or prepare for the worst. I think you are also finding healthier outlets for channeling this restlessness. You could be working out, you could be taking on a fun hobby, learning something new. There is also something about talking, so maybe you've been opening up more and talking about how you feel. You may be journaling, you could be actually having conversations with a specific person or thing. I know I'm not the only one that does this, okay? It's pretty funny when I think about it. I like to talk to ChatGPT. I refer to ChatGPT as my AI therapist because it really is. But it can help, you know? It helps me, so I like doing it. Going back to journaling, you could be journaling to a specific person. And I don't know if this is a person that you know, if this is someone from your past, or if it's someone or people that you haven't met yet. You could be journaling to a future best friend, a future partner, a future child or children. Oh my god, as soon as I said that, I got an email. It says parents, and it says welcoming a baby boy. Now, obviously, I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose you with anything. I can't confirm fertility, infertility, pregnancy, things like that. But when messages like this come through, I do like to share them. There may be something about a past or future pregnancy, or if you are pregnant right now, maybe journaling to your future child would be something that is really healing, especially for those of you where you are desiring to have a child in the future. This may actually work as a form of manifestation for you. I wasn't expecting messages like this to come through, but for those of you where you are trying to manifest changes fertility-wise, or manifests a future child or children, or wanting to do workings centered around that. Poppy seeds, you should use poppy seeds. Anyways, moving forward. Most of you have been working on reframing the way you see a stressful situation or an unpredictable change. So instead of it being a catastrophic collapse, right? It's the start of a new adventure, a new beginning. Your opportunities are limitless, and the more you hold this perspective, the more at peace you'll be, and the more you will flow with these changes. So I just got another vision or an image of a house, and it looks like this big wooden house in the middle of a field, and the house seems to be falling apart, but it looks as though there were small repairs that were made to act as a quick fix for damage that had been done. But this damage is structural damage, and it's not just cosmetic. And the bones of this home, the foundation, is something that is not solid. So I'm noticing a storm that is kind of blowing this house apart. But then the song To Build a Home, let me look it up. Actually, I think it's To Build a Home by Cinematic Orchestra. I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, yes. It is Cinematic Orchestra, To Build a Home. I was specifically hearing the first lyrics. There is a house built out of stone, wooden floors, walls, and windowsills. But the part of a house being built out of stone is making me think of you creating a more safe, solid, and stable structure within. And also, this is something that is going to manifest outwardly. I keep getting so many different references to things. I just thought of another song I haven't heard in such a long time. I think it's called The Bones. My gosh, this wind. It is The Bones by Maren Morris. So what I'm feeling from this, we're getting references to you rebuilding and solidifying your foundation internally and doing the necessary work to ensure that regardless of what is going on outside of you, that you are able to remain stable and solid within, that your internal security, your worth, your peace is not determined by anything outside of you. You are the foundation that makes a home. Maybe in the past, with that visual I got of the home falling apart with like the quick fixes, maybe you did ignore structural damage and you were doing what you could to try and mend it in that moment, but you weren't addressing the core issues or the core wounds or challenges that you were facing internally and externally. This definitely could represent a relationship or love too, connections you've had in your life, whether romantic or platonic, which also explains your anxiety regarding moving forward and establishing yourself somewhere new or completely changing things for yourself. Oh my gosh, you guys also have a swarm of birds hanging out for your reading today. I think that this goes beyond yourself though, because themes and messages regarding partnership keep coming through, and I just want to look at the lyrics from this song because I feel that it's significant and ties into what you have been experiencing and what you're moving towards, where your intuition is leading you, right? So looking at the chorus, she says, when the bones are good, the rest doesn't matter. The paint could peel, the glass could shatter. Let it rain, because you and I remain the same. When there isn't a crack in the foundation, I know that any storm we're facing will blow right over. While we stay put, the house won't fall when the bones are good. I think that this affirms the work that you've been doing and your own personal growth and evolution. I think that this confirms that those relationships from the past and what you experienced in past connections, that they were not stable, solid, or built on a healthy foundation. And I think that this is a reminder that moving forward, when you do connect with the right person, there will be a mutual effort, care, and investment that is put into the foundation that you build together. It's not going to be one person doing everything, one person trying to hold it together while the other person is tearing it down. Destruction absolutely can lead to reconstruction in a healthy and safe way. But this destruction that I'm picking up on that you guys have experienced, it wasn't healthy, it wasn't safe, it was something that was harmful and hurtful. Your intuition has been leading you towards stabilizing yourself, but also leading you in the direction of external stability and connecting with the right people, places, and spaces that are safe for you in all aspects, in all ways. Your guys' reading is going to be longer. I'm so sorry. I wasn't expecting for all these extra messages to come through. So funny enough, you guys ended up getting bonus cards. The black egg came out reversed and the swan came out reversed. So they fill out randomly on their own when I move from one space to another. It is very possible that, again, relocation is something that is going to happen or take place, but you may notice once you are out of a certain environment that certain suppressed feelings or memories may come through. And that's not abnormal, because you're going to feel as though you are in a space or in a connection where now you can safely process these things. Maybe there are things that you feel as though you've processed, but you haven't fully been able to digest or release, or you've been so consumed and overwhelmed by other things that you're trying to work through that there's other things that you haven't been able to fully face or address. And this may also be saying too that there are certain things that you may only be able, I don't want to say only able to heal, but like, especially when it comes to relationships and connections, some things we can only truly heal through relationships or connections. You know what I mean? Like, there's work that you do independently on your own, but there's also work that you do together. And I think your intuition is leading you towards person or people that are going to play an important role in your healing. There may have been significant betrayal or several betrayals that you have experienced in life, but there is one that is sticking out in particular that has really altered and shaped how you see yourself, how you see life, and especially how you see love. And there's a story that a friend of mine shared with me about a swan and a scorpion. Ironically enough, you guys had the scorpion card on the back of the deck. When I researched the story on my own, it brought me to a page called Narcissism Free. So this absolutely could be connected to narcissistic abuse. If you aren't familiar with the story, I'm going to read through it now. There was a swan at the edge of a river, and a scorpion approached, asking if the swan would kindly give him a ride to the other side of the river on her back. And the swan said, "No, you're a scorpion, you will sting me, and I will die." And the scorpion assured the swan that he wouldn't do that. All he wanted was a ride to the other side, and he promised that she would be safe with him. So the swan gave in and allowed the scorpion to climb upon her back. She swam to the other side, and just before reaching the shore, the scorpion stung her and jumped to safety. As the swan was sinking, slowly dying from the poisons, she asked the scorpion why he broke his promise and stung her. And the scorpion said, "I'm a scorpion. That is what I do." So the swan unintentionally projected its qualities onto the scorpion, right? The swan represents loyalty, trust, commitment, and fidelity. It is only natural for the swan, and in this instance, you guys would be the swan. It would only make sense that the swan would perceive things that way, perceive other people that way as well, which to me explains why the swan would struggle to fathom and understand why the scorpion would break its promise despite it being a scorpion. And I think this could be reflecting certain experiences you've had, or representing certain connections or a connection that you have had in your life that has impacted you, and again, shaped how you view others, how you view life, and how you view love entirely. You may have had moments in your life where you denied your own truth, right? Disregarded your needs and feelings for the sake of another, or because of conditioning from another person. And since the black egg represents our truth, unaltered, without distortion, it can reflect confusion, illusions, or denial. in this position. And this is where your fears stem from. This is what triggers your anxiety about the future and the unknown, especially when it comes to trusting your ability to make the healthiest decisions for yourself. And when it comes to you trusting another person, you turn the blame on yourself, the same way other people blamed you for their harmful and toxic behaviors and actions, and it was never you, okay? I need you to remember that. When you leave this reading, it was never you. It isn't you. I think I talked about it in the last reading, I'm not sure, but funny enough, I'm listening to a book on narcissism or narcissistic abuse, and it's called It's Not You. I believe it's by Dr. Romney. I definitely recommend it. I feel like you guys would benefit a lot from it, or maybe you've read it before or you're familiar with her work. So, after all of that, now we're finally getting into where your intuition is leading you. So we have the Hunter reversed, the Kiss reversed, and the Vow. So this is a promise that you have made or you're making to yourself to never return to a certain dynamic, environment, connections, or way of living ever again. Story time. Right before I left Connecticut, I had witnessed a really painful betrayal that solidified my path from there on out. And right after it happened, I sent a voice note to my friend at the time, asking and pleading for them to remind me of the pain that I was feeling in that moment if I were to ever consider returning to that connection or person again. And it's the same person I told you about with the broken butterfly. In that moment, I confidently felt that I never would, but I also knew myself and I knew my heart, and I put this person above everything else, especially myself. That was the nature of a connection, and in connections I've had throughout my life, especially in childhood, my very first connections were like that. So that is a pattern that I've experienced and been a part of my entire life. So for you, your intuition is leading you away from this cycle. It has been one of trauma and burdens, to put it lightly. Never returning, never accepting, never tolerating this type of treatment, behavior ever again. And this vow you have made in our making is to love and cherish yourself and to no longer embrace the role as the sacrifice and the scapegoat. That is not going to be your identity anymore. You guys could be seeing 222 or 2222 as well as 2222 on the time. Continuing on, we have the Vision, the Orphan cross, and I believe it's Thanatos. I don't know how to pronounce it. I apologize. But the narrative and the story, the role of you being the orphan is ending. It is taking you so much to get to this point. Building yourself up and trying to heal the relationship you've had with yourself is not easy after being put through a cycle or cycles like this. Reframing may feel like the most challenging or lengthy part of this process because it's something that you are going to continuously have to do after the extensive conditioning and programming that you have experienced. So you are rewriting your life, and even though you can't change history, the past does not have to be your future, right? Your intuition is leading you through this powerful rebirth, and there are many things internally and externally that you are leaving behind. The things that you were told, projections that you clung on to, the lies you were conditioned to believe about yourself, all that is fading away. And like I told group 1, you have to be easy on yourself and honor your growth. The fear of inadequacy and the need for perfection can turn your healing journey into something harmful. That is one of the reasons why it is triggering. This transition may remind you of these past experiences, but you are not there, okay? You are safe, you are loved, and you are free. So looking at your final messages and your advice, you have the deer, the mouse, and the cheetah. The mouse and the deer complement each other really well. The deer is connected to the mother archetype, the one who is feminine, nurturing, compassionate. There are moments where you may feel like the mouse, operating from a space of anxiety or worry, which we saw with the rabbit, trying to do as much as you can to prepare for a potential disaster. However, when your anxiety gets the best of you, it can distort your vision and the future becomes a threat. the deer is calling you to be compassionate and understanding with yourself, just like a parent would, or a mother would, or should. You likely didn't experience that or feel as though that you've lacked that support in your life. So similar to group 1, this is about you being that for yourself. But that doesn't mean that you won't connect with and attract people that will also support you, because you will, and that is exactly what you are moving towards. You may be frustrated when it comes to your progress, specifically your healing. It's not something that you should or that you need to rush through. So take the pressure off yourself. You deserve that same level of love and understanding that you have always given to other people. It reminds us of our vision, the cheetah, and asks us to reflect on our passions and what is driving us. So focus on what you want moving forwards, not what you feel you have had to or what you feel you are running away from. I don't feel like you're really running per se. This time around, I feel that you're more so closing the door. But because of how triggering things are, you may feel as though you have to escape. And that puts you in a state of fear. Again, be easy on yourself. You are safe. You are loved. You are free. I'm very proud of you. That is what I have for you, group 2. I hope that this helped. Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below, and get excited for what's next, because what was isn't your reality anymore. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah. Hey, group 3, for those of you that picked this pile, this is your reading. We are looking at where your intuition is leading you, what it's guiding you towards at this time. So before we get into that, we're going to take a look at your current energy, or the energy of your recent past. So probably about 3 months at most. For a small number of you, like I told the other groups, this could be the energy that you are stepping into in the near future, like right after you listen to this, probably within a few days or a week. But for a majority, this is present or past, okay? So group 3, your current energy, you have Nightingale, the 6 of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune, and you have the 8 of Cups. So you are finding your voice, and you are allowing your truth to be spoken, and really starting to understand what your truth is versus what you have been told your truth is. I'm hearing that there are people, or there's a person that specifically need to hear this truth from you. So for some of you, group 3, this may be regarding an important conversation that needs to be had, and something about this conversation is going to be not just significant for you or healing for you, but also for another person or people. If it's not a conversation, then you may be called to speak up and speak out in some way, voicing your thoughts, your opinions, your beliefs. Maybe this is on social media, maybe this is within your career or business, but there's something about you expressing, communicating a certain truth, and you are the only one that can really convey this message to a certain group of people, or this is a conversation between you and another person. So you may feel this call or pull to guide or mentor others. And there have been people around you that likely denied or rejected your truth, mostly because it threatens their comfortability. Or you've struggled with expressing your feelings, your needs and desires in a clear and confident way in general. So these challenges that you've experienced with communication, you are overcoming them. I feel like for you guys with your messages, they're pretty clear. There's a certain level of directness, and this may also reflect how you communicate or what you benefit from, like how you prefer to receive information, or what helps you in digesting certain information or details is when someone is just clear, direct. Maybe people have said that you could be a bit blunt or straightforward. Your messages are only going to reach those who are ready to listen. And this may be the thing that has discouraged you from expressing yourself, because it feels as though you may have had moments or have moments now where you hold back out of fear or worry. And if that's the case, what are the specific thoughts and feelings that come to mind? Again, I do see that a majority of you have been overcoming these anxieties and insecurities that have been keeping you stagnant. And I see you moving into a new chapter that requires you to step outside of your comfort zone in a way. And the Eight of Cups usually signifies a release or detachment from what no longer serves us, right? So these restrictive tendencies, they don't align with you, your fulfillment, or your goals. And that is why you have felt so limited and bound in your past. So your authenticity is starting to shine through. And it may feel foreign. It could feel unfamiliar, especially if you were raised in an environment where you had to hide away or conceal certain parts of yourself, or where you never felt truly heard or seen. I'm getting a reference to when life gives you tangerines. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. But there's a part in the show where one of the characters, she asks her partner, I don't know if they were together at the time, I don't think so, but person she ends up marrying, she asks, "Cat's got your tongue," because he wouldn't speak up, he wouldn't vocalize or share certain things. And part of it is because the other character, you know, she always was vocalizing and expressing herself, maybe not even realizing how she wasn't allowing him or giving him the space to speak. And you may resonate with that. You may be someone or have been someone that held your tongue and didn't open up about how things made you feel or what you thought, and you learned to suppress or bury that. But there's either a specific situation that is going to be the turning point for this, where you have that conversation like I said, or this is you opening up and sharing your truth with multiple people, and this is going to heal this part of you. I don't know if I said it yet, but you're pivoting away from catering and suppressing, and now you're showing up in a more raw and genuine way. So looking at where your intuition is leading you, you have the self, the riddle, and the animal. Your intuition is leading you towards what you desire most, but there is a deeper significance behind the pull that you have felt, and it goes beyond desire. What you maybe thought was a personal goal or wish is actually connected to something greater. There's like more moving parts, or again, like maybe you do feel a pull to guide or lead or mentor. Obviously that would have an impact on other people. And while you may just view it as, okay, I'm sharing my thoughts, I'm sharing my experiences, that will shape other people. And what you teach, how you guide, how you inform others, that can shift the course of their lives. That can completely change their mindset, their decision making, the direction that they go in. So it's a butterfly effect, right? It leads to a greater impact. Some people may define this, or you may define this as a purpose or a higher calling. And this does feel like fate or destiny in a way. Your intuition is communicating with you at this time through these desires that you have, but without showing you the full picture. My gosh, here comes the wind again. The wind is picking up. Everything is interconnected and intertwined. But you may be struggling to see beyond the pull that you feel, only getting the glimpses and the pieces without fully understanding why or what it's building up to, right? So for an example, you may feel a pull to a specific area randomly. You don't know why, you just feel a pull to a specific area, or this area keeps popping up. Maybe you're hearing the name of a certain place, or you keep seeing a certain city repeatedly pop up on your feed, or you're just feeling a draw and a pull to a specific area or region. And maybe you've been manifesting a new home or a job or relationship, and the area you're drawn to has your dream home, has your dream partner, or a dream position. So this alignment is linked to your authenticity, which is what you have been working on embracing and discovering. You are being encouraged to lean into the unknown, relying exclusively on your intuition instead of seeking opinions and clarity from others. So even though it's scary, this is how things are going to unfold in the most favorable way possible for you. There will be external confirmations that will come to you, but it's not something you have to search for. You're not meant to have all the answers immediately, and sometimes certain things won't click in the exact moment that you're wanting them. So continuing on, you have the gem that came out crossed, you have the mirror reversed, and you have dead end reversed. So you may feel like this transition that you are experiencing is painful, emotional, or heavy. And the word that came through specifically is pressure. Pressure makes diamonds. And with the gem being on its side like that, I think that that is symbolizing the transformation that you are undergoing, this metamorphosis that you are experiencing. And there may be a specific situation, experience, or experiences that you have felt broken down by, which could explain that tension or stress that you feel regarding this rebirth. This is a time where many truths will or have come to light, and you're learning to discern between what is and what isn't in terms of your identity and your truth. And some things that you've attached to yourself, some of the things that you were conditioned to be, or other things that you have projected onto you, you may feel stunted by, or you may feel have bound you in some way. So this is about dismantling a destructive and limited self-concept that was established by other people's insecurities and their shame and their self-doubt. Visually, I'm seeing you guys as a channel, right? You tend to give so much of yourself unconditionally, but others use you for fuel and discard. So when they want to boost, they need to feel better, they go to you. But when they want to purge and pass things that they don't want to hold on to, that make them feel low or make them feel bad, they send that to you. As you continue to forge your own path and redefine your sense of self, following your inner voice, you likely will be met with resistance and adversity, and you may feel that way now, like you already are dealing with that. And I do think it's going to be a mix of both, internal and external. But to me, the mirror and the dead end both being reversed are a positive sign that the limiting beliefs and perceptions of self that did restrict you are dissolving and bouncing back to wherever they came from, or being transmuted into something that is more supportive and uplifting. This is the end of a cycle where self-betrayal is your key to survival, where your path, your purpose, your capabilities are determined by everyone and everything else. You are choosing your truth over likability. And look at your final messages and advice. You have the cobra and you have the stingray. I'm going to start with the stingray because it really just affirms everything we already talked about. So I'm going to read from the passage from the book. It says, the stingray card marks a pivotal point in personal growth. The moment has come where the stingray must decide between the old, easy, comfortable, familiar, and the new, challenging and comfortable and unfamiliar. Pressure from friends and family makes the decision even more complicated. No matter what choice is made now, it's inevitable that this dilemma will surface again and again as the force of Dharma growing within the stingray is too strong to ignore. So when it's in balance, which you guys had it upright, it says eager, wants to grow. When it's out of balance, blames others and quits, and to bring into balance, move through the discomfort, which basically summarizes your entire reading. And there's a line within the description of the cobra. It says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I think that this can represent two things. One, we already got the message about you being a guide or a mentor. So this call and this pull that you feel is because there are other people that are ready to hear your voice, ready to hear your truth. They're waiting for your messages and for your guidance. But I also feel that this could be signaling towards a guide or a mentor that you may connect with soon, or you're going to be the student again, in a sense. So you've already learned everything that you could learn from this situation. You've mastered this, it seems. And now as you transition to the new, this is about allowing yourself to expand, explore, and experience new things. And that is the role of the student in that regard. The cobra, to me, also feels striking. So there could be a desire to act quickly with something, or there may be a sudden or spontaneous occurrence. This may be a swift decision, an unexpected contact, or unforeseen momentum. This also makes me feel as though there's going to be rapid growth in a specific field or area of your life where this applies. If this is you having an important conversation with someone, then there could be breakthrough within that specific relationship, or both of you leave with a transformed perspective or outlook on something. This is you guiding, mentoring others, then you may experience significant growth when it comes to establishing a community or finding your community of people. It's something that would be quick and rapid. I feel like your guys' reading was really short, but those are the messages that I do have for you guys. Maybe you just needed something quick. I love you guys so, so much. I'm proud of you. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Mwah.